Well, hey, it's great to be here. As Usha said, I'm Joseph Landis. I'm the general manager of our developer and platform evangelism team here in India. Today, and why we're here, I think another part of innovation that's important is to break through the clutter, right? There's a lot of great ideas that never see the light of day because people aren't necessarily persistent enough, or they aren't necessarily able to win the hearts and minds of consumers. And I think the ideas that we're going to see today, I think we should think about in that vein, that people are generally kind of skeptical. People take for granted a lot of great innovation that's already out there today, and I think that that's just something to keep in the back of our minds as you are incubating new ideas and as we're thinking about, what are some of the new ideas that we're going to hear about today.
Today, I think we are in a special moment because there's another similar cycle taking place in the industry today. And this cycle is driven by new knowledge that is telling startups how can they improve their chances of being successful. And that set of ideas, set of knowledge is going by the label called lean startups. And why is it significant? If you talk to Steve Blank, Eric Rice, Sramanna Mitra, Guy Kawasaki, some of the spiritual leaders behind this movement, they will tell you in Silicon Valley, their biggest issue is that they got people to unlearn the old way of doing things so that they can do the lean startup model right. Here, most of our entrepreneurs are first-time entrepreneurs. Thankfully, there is no unlearning that needs to be done. Retooling the mind is a lot simpler here in India, just the way George Smith demonstrated was a lot simpler when you started from scratch. There was no unlearning to be done in the Motorola Center that he set up back in early 90s. Same is the phenomena today. So I think we are at the start of another 20-year cycle in the Indian IT industry, which is going to be, in my view, more powerful than the last 20-year cycle that's happened. This time it's going to be about software products, not services. And you are all going to drive this. So here are the next Premjis and Narayan Murthis and others sitting there, except they are going to be for the product industry and not for the services industry. So I think this is, to my mind, a golden moment that we are living through here right now.
Really wonderful to see all the ideas and all the energy around the different things that a number of these startups and businesses are doing, and really, really inspiring in terms of some of the things that are really happening. And what I wanted to share a little bit about, sort of the theme of the discussion is around seizing the opportunity. And from a Microsoft perspective, we sort of view ourselves as building all of the key elements that will enable companies like yours to go finish and really create the value for the end customers or the end businesses that are out there. They're trying to do all the great things. And so we view ourselves really as that base platform that really can span across all sorts of different types of things that you may want to do that can then really demonstrate that value. And so I'm going to share a little bit about what I think what the future looks like. I'm going to talk a little bit about sort of where we've come from and then sort of where we're going and how some of those pieces really come together. So that's what we're doing on the consumer side and the enterprise. So what's next, from our perspective? What are we going to do next? Well, at the end of the day, there's a few key principles of the things that we're going to go do. One, we're absolutely focused on transformation. We're thinking about what we can do to continue to change the business models and the technology to get to that end vision that I shared at the beginning. We're investing a ton in natural user interface, thinking about how humans will interact with machines, how they want to interact with machines, and to give the right kind of interaction for the right time with the right kind of device. We'll be continuing to invent the future, thinking about new ways of how people will want to use technology and leverage technology in their daily lives. We think developers are absolutely critical to the future. The developers, as we view it, are the wizards of the future. Being able to create those set of experiences, things we haven't dreamt about, things we don't even know, we can't see, to connect the dots for consumers and businesses. We'll continue to be focused on big, bold goals, thinking about how we go very, very large across the entire planet, touching every consumer and business on the planet. We'll continue to be focused on empowering everyone. This is all about people. It's all about making people giving people what they need and driving their outcomes and their needs first, and then continuing to challenge convention, making sure that we're continuing to think about how do we invent and change what's possible based on what the technology provides us. And so at the end of the day, where Bill and Paul started the company with that vision in terms of putting a PC on every desk in every home was really fundamentally about changing the world. And so that continues to be our hope and our aspiration, is that we'll continue to be able to change the world in terms of using technology, and that's sort of how we think about the future. So that's sort of, from a Microsoft perspective, what we're about. And so what I wanted to close with was an example, and this is sort of really interesting if you think about this, right? All of the piece parts that I just sort of shared, and there's a lot there. There's a lot of things that we can talk about that we have to offer. But it's all about that end at the end, the partner solutions, the things that we can't dream about of how people will actually use technology.